Still sitting in a truck seat that's older than your favorite pair of work boots? Your back has been filing complaints for years. If your seat is worn out, sagging, or just plain uncomfortable, it's time for an upgrade. Head on over to seatspecialist.com. Check out their selection of quality replacement seats built to keep you comfortable mile after mile. And don't forget to use promo code TR104U to save 10% on your order. Seatspecialist.com, because a better ride starts with a better seat.
Welcome back to another episode of That's Delivered. Today, we're excited to have Will Kremer from Trucking Insurance Services with us, and we're going to dive into the world of trucking insurance, discuss some of the misconceptions, and uncover how truckers can find affordable insurance without sacrificing quality. Will, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. That's real good. I just want to dive right into it, get to know you a little better, see about your background for the insurance industry. What led you to specialize in trucking insurance?
Yeah. You know, it- People say all the time, once you get into the truck insurance niche, you never really leave it. And it's true because trucking is so specific and it's a unique side of insurance. I usually tell people when they first start working at the agency, you could study for your insurance license, you can take all the tests, you can read the books. None of it prepares you for truck insurance. Because trucking insurance it's a mixture of obviously the trucking industry and the regulations that come from the DOT and the FMCSA. And then there's insurance law and insurance state regulations. So it's like this marriage between these two regulatory bodies that other niches in insurance don't have to deal with. Most people don't jump straight into truck insurance. My path was a little bit different. My family are truckers. I come from a trucking family. So at one point before the insurance agency, there's a fleet of trucks. It was a small fleet. And then Great Recession happened, took its toll on the economy, sold all the trucks and got out of that side of things. And from that experience, my family members that ultimately started the agency took notes on what happened whenever they owned their trucks. So obviously the relationship between a truck insurance agent and a trucking company is pretty unique. A trucking company, we talk to our clients all the time. We get to know our clients. We get to know their stories, their families, because it's not something you talk to us, once every year. We renew the policy. Life is good. You're adding trucks, you're adding drivers, you're deleting drivers that you terminate, you're getting certificates of insurance, you're getting this and that for whatever contract or load you're trying to get, especially the owner operators. We talk to them a lot. So we took everything that we learned from that experience of owning trucks and we started a trucking compliance company. So I paid my way through college doing truck permits. And I'd get up in the morning and I'd get up at 3 a.m, go by the office, grab whatever we needed to get plates and tags and IFTA and everything for truckers, drive down to downtown Atlanta, stand in line, and try to be the first one in there to get the plates and everything for these trucking companies. So I started on compliance, setting up DOT, MC numbers, all that fun jazz. And at some point that translated into an insurance agency. So I shifted over there. And for about 15 years now, I've been doing truck insurance. So it's
Wow,
kind of all I know. With one
man.
short stint in there for working at Chick-fil-A in high school. Other than that, it's all been trucking.
Hey, they get trucks too.
Yeah, that's true. They do.
Wow. So, man, so you're living and breathing it. I mean, so
Yeah.
I mean that's great. Hey, thanks for sharing that. And do you have maybe a example or experience in the trucking industry before diving into the auto insurance or anything like that? Maybe besides maybe Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, well, not really. I mean, it's all I've been doing is truck. And the thing is, even back to my point earlier about truck insurance and how niche it is, I tell people all the time, if you ask me a question about your personal auto, I cannot answer it. If you ask me about your homeowners, I cannot answer it. I truly only know truck insurance. But it's something that's so specific and niche, you really have to understand it. Um, and it's unlike anything else. Even the coverage, while there may be similar coverage between a commercial auto trucking policy and a your personal car, it doesn't necessarily translate the same way into what's covered, what's not covered. Um, it's a world of its own. And once trucking sucks you in, I mean, people say all the time about trucking, right? Whenever you're a truck driver, once you're behind the wheel, you can't see yourself doing anything else. And I feel like servicing trucking companies and taking care of truckers, it's a very similar experience because truckers are unique in their own. I mean, and I love talking to truck drivers. They have some of the wildest stories. You never hear. I mean, truck drivers will say some things to you that you wouldn't hear anywhere else. Why would I want to work somewhere else that's so boring, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just, once you're in any sort of trucking adjacent industry, you're done. That's all you're gonna do.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I love it, man. It seems like that's a really rewarding part of it, getting to know those
oh, it's
individuals, making
awesome.
those connections. Do you have an example or what's been most rewarding? Anything you can remember?
Oh yeah,
People.
actually, this is from
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Back to like I said earlier, you really get to know your clients whenever they're small fleets. Because at our agency, we write 100% commercial auto for trucking. We have a couple personal auto policies that we write for our truckers, but it's only trucking. So whenever you have an owner operator or a guy who manages a small fleet of trucks, right? We're talking to them almost on a daily basis. And a few weeks ago, I get a call on my personal cell phone, which I try not to give out at work, but sometimes I need a picture of a title or I need something. I'm like, just text it to me. It's easier. And this guy, he one of our clients texted me a few weeks ago and he says, "Hey, do you have a time to talk?" And I mean, it's Saturday at 7:30 in the morning. And he's been our client for 9 or 10 years. And I'm like, I will always talk to you. Yes. So I call him my cell phone. I'm cooking breakfast. He's telling me about how his girlfriend broke up with him, and his girlfriend's one of the drivers on his policy. So he's like, we need to get her off the policy. And then I mean, we're on the phone for 45 minutes. I'm like scrambling eggs. And he's just telling me all about how his girlfriend broke up with him. She flew off, but then maybe she's going to come back. And I'm just like, yeah, man, I know how tough it is with that. I mean, like, you really get to know these guys, and that's what's
Yeah.
so fun about it. I could do another type of insurance, but like, who's going to call me and tell me the girlfriend broke up with him? Like,
Yeah.
but also who's employing their girlfriend, right, to drive for him, right? So like, I mean, just it's so much fun. I just love it. And I
That
love the
is great.
relationships I get to build with them.
Wow. That's awesome,
Yeah.
dude. Man, I appreciate that. Wow. So, yeah, think about the trucking insurance, the services you guys provide. Before you get any
Mhm.
specific insurance tips, can you give us an overview of what trucking insurance services offers, or
Yeah.
what sets you guys apart from other insurance agencies in the market?
Okay. So trucking insurance, what I tell people about it is that there's only so many trucking insurance companies that will write this specific type of insurance. So, you can go to an Allstate, your local Allstate agent, right? Allstate doesn't sell commercial truck insurance. There's so much that goes into it on the insurance regulatory side that most insurance companies they kind of shy away from it. You even have like large companies like Nationwide. Everyone knows Nationwide. They used to write commercial truck insurance. About 2 years ago, they just completely exited the market. They said, we don't, there's too much exposure, too much risk here. We don't want to touch this anymore. So there's only a handful of companies that are going to write it. So whenever you go to an insurance agent for trucking, you're usually going to get most of the same markets. Most of the big markets most agents are going to have. There's going to be some more niche markets or maybe some markets that have very few insurance agents that offer it. But generally speaking, you're going to get most of the same markets. So what you have to do to separate yourself in this particular space is offer something that other agents can't offer. And that's personalized service. It's caring about your client. It's caring about their business. And it's helping them see what's around the corner. So our big I say selling point, but it's not even really a selling point. It's just what we do. The cornerstone of our agency is helping our clients see what's around the corner. So you could call us up and say, this is what I'm thinking about doing. And I can spit off the insurance regulations about it all day long. but what's it going to do? How's it going to affect your company? How's it going to affect the state? How's it going to affect fines from the state? What are you going to do with the Department of Transportation? Because we come from a trucking background, we know trucking. We always say that we speak truck. We don't speak insurance. And truck is a very specific language, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
And we strive to help them see, what's going to come up on the road. And the other part of it that we do is we treat each person the same. We don't give preferred service to somebody that has 50 trucks or 100 trucks. We don't treat an owner operator, poorly. We treat them the same. If you are a guy that owns a truck and you have your own authority and you're driving and you're making money and you're putting food on the table, that is just as honorable and respectable as the guy that has, 50 trucks. And you don't find that everywhere. You don't find that level of service. We'll spend an hour on the phone with the guy with his truck that we do the guy that owns 50 trucks. And that's what we hammer down so much. Just the other day, we're doing an interview for a customer service position. And I'm explaining to him that I've had truck drivers conference me in with brokers, conference me in with, other people in the industry. And they get talked to so poorly sometimes. I mean, it is astonishing. Like my jaw has dropped before hearing how people talk to a truck driver. So the cornerstone of what we do is treat truckers with respect, and you treat truckers with respect by educating them. Because I mean, come on, you don't wake up in the morning just knowing about insurance. People don't know about their personal auto insurance. There's no way they're going to know about their commercial truck insurance with all the complexities, the nuances, and regulations you deal with. You're not going to know about that. So I think what sets us apart is, I mean, yes, it's the markets because we have been doing this for so long. We do have some great markets and great contacts and underwriters, but it's just the service and it's the way we treat people. We treat people with kindness and respect.
Man, that's perfect. That's like a partnership with your clients.
That's exactly right. It is a partnership. I mean, if you don't trust me, I mean, the foundation of insurance is trust. If you don't trust me, if you don't think that I have your back, how are you going to trust me to cover your business? How are you going to trust me that I'm giving you the right coverage and that I'm giving you the best rate out there? It's about trust.
Nice. Wow. I mean, that's great. I think you're doing it, man. You're embodying it. You're putting it out there to also get something back in return. That's huge. You're not doing it for the reward, but you're going to get it. Reward that's going to come your way because you're putting out that.
Well, you have to be passionate about it. You have to be passionate about the industry because the industry's tough. I mean, right now, this is a tough market.
Mm-hmm.
People are struggling right now, and there's a direct correlation between people calling into our agency upset about their billing, about how are they going to make this payment? If they make this payment, if you don't have insurance, you don't have a company. If you don't have insurance, your MC number is going to go inactive. You ain't getting loads. You're parking your trucks. You don't have anything. So, I mean, it is truly a partnership. So we have to take care of our guys whenever they're calling in upset, whenever there's a problem in the economy, we have to hear it. We work with them on it. We want to support them in it. We want to help them figure out what the answer is.
Right.
So you have to be passionate about it or else they're going to see right through you.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, and you think about what's out there, affordable versus cheap insurance. One topic that's really important for truckers is finding affordable insurance. But you've mentioned before that there's a huge difference between cheap insurance or, the lack of coverage or the affordability, what they have and what the protection they're going to get. They want to get the right protection. They don't want to probably end up with a wrong package based on their type of load and what they're carrying. Can you explain the distinction between affordable and cheap?
Yes. So everyone calls and says, I need cheap insurance. And I ask them, are you looking for cheap insurance? Or are you looking for affordable insurance? Because those are two very different things. I can put you with, and truthfully, we don't really write much of this. I can put you with a B-rated insurance company that is going to look fine on paper, but whenever you send that certificate of insurance to a broker for a load and they're just going to say, I don't work with this insurance company, what are you going to do then? How's that going to help you? So you have to find affordable insurance, and affordable insurance is a direct reflection of your practices as a driver, as a company. If you have a culture of safety, if your drivers understand the importance of safe driving, and not only that, what are you doing to encourage safe driving as a fleet manager or as somebody that owns a trucking company? What are you doing to promote a safe culture of driving? So there's affordable insurance, which is going to be like an A-rated insurance company, and they're going to give you your auto liability, which I spit out coverages all day long, and I realize people do not know what these words mean. When I say auto liability, that's what's paying out for damages you caused somebody else. You know, you hit that car and Mary Jo goes, ow, my neck. That's auto liability. And that's what's required by the state. That's what's required by the federal motor carrier to keep your authority active, or to what you need to be street legal in essence.
Okay.
Then there's things like cargo, which is protecting the property you're hauling. I could just write you a policy for liability and cargo, and you could be on your merry way, but you'd have so many coverage gaps, and you wouldn't have the protection you need. So there's things like roadside assistance, there's medical payments, there's uninsured motorists, there's rental reimbursement, there's physical damage, and that's the big thing. So this is what I always tell people when they want to know the distinction between cheap insurance and affordable insurance. Physical damage coverage is what pays to repair your truck in the event of an accident. So you hit somebody else, Mary Jo goes, ow, my neck. What happens to your truck? That's what that physical damage is protecting. That's going to repair your truck. If your truck's a total loss, that's what's going to pay to get you into a new truck. But there's things included in that people don't really realize, like towing and storage. So your truck gets towed away from the scene of that accident, and it has to be stored somewhere for a month. Because remember during COVID, you couldn't find parts. I mean, we had people going out of business because their truck had a mechanical issue and they couldn't get a part for 6 months. So what happens whenever that truck is stored somewhere? You're having to pay for that. There's insurance policies out there that may pay $5,000 for towing and storage. If you've ever had to pay a tow bill for a truck, you know $5,000 ain't enough. And I had this. Oh my gosh, I think about this all the time. I had this story. This guy who came to me, he had a $75,000 storage bill, and his policy covered $10,000 in storage. They wouldn't give him his truck back until he paid the difference. I don't have that much money sitting around, and neither did he. So, I mean, that's the thing. You have to, insurance, back to my earlier point, insurance is all about trust. So you have to trust your agent to get you an affordable policy that's covering you, not just the cheap policy that doesn't do anything and looks great on paper. That's the thing. I will tell people all the time, like, I have this one cheap policy that's going to save you a few $1,000, but in the event of a claim, you ain't going to like it. You ain't going to like what happens. You ain't going to like how the claim's handled. You ain't going to like what you're going to have to pay out, and you ain't going to like the process. Or I could give you this policy that's a little bit more, and it's still cheap, or it's still affordable, but the coverage is good. That's the difference.
Wow. Yeah, that's a huge point, man. You think of those key factors that determine the trucking insurance rates. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into play there. How much is it, like, for driving history, vehicle type, business size, that it plays a factor in determining insurance rates? Maybe you can help the listeners with that.
Okay, so this is where I get wildly passionate is these insurance rates, because this is what's putting people out of business. Insurance is not a small expenditure. It's huge. And if you're, an owner operator, or you're leased on to somebody, or you're managing a fleet, that insurance is going to be such a sizable line item. So you have to figure out, what can we do to get that rate down? There's two different ways that we look at insurance. There's the 1 to 9 units, and then there's the 10 plus. 10 plus, you get into fleet. Things are a little bit different there. The 1 to 9 unit, though, that's really where we shine. We love our small fleets and we love our owner operators. And it's such a fun dynamic area. And for that kind of coverage, you're looking at that safety scores. I have people all the time that are shocked that insurance looks at your safety scores from the DOT, and they really do. They'll look at it. I had somebody last week. Oh, I love her. She is so sweet, and like her safety scores are terrible. And I say all the time, I wish that just nice personalities can get you cheaper rates, but they can't. I mean, her vehicle maintenance scores were off the charts. And insurance companies are going to look at that and say, if you have frequent tire tread violations, if you have unsafe driving violations, if you have hours of service violations, we don't want to touch you. Because to them, they see all that and they see increased risk. And at the end of the day, insurance companies are for profit. They want to make money. They also want to take care of you, and they want to make sure that you're taken care of in the event of a claim, but they're not in the business of losing money. So you have to remember getting a good mechanic. I mean, a good mechanic can save you so much money. People don't realize that, but getting a good mechanic will save you money. I have half a mind to like just start a little not a side hustle, side venture of just goodmechanics.com. I don't know, something like that. Of just like, here's some good mechanics. Please use these people. Making sure that your ELD people, make sure your ELD's turned on and you're not skirting corners on that. And I know that some people have pressure from their managers to play with the ELDs. Don't do it. Don't do it. And if your manager's telling you to do that, you need to be like, dude, come on, like don't do that.
Yeah, I think they're clamping down on that.
They are.
It's a huge thing coming down the pipe.
Yeah, it is. And then the other thing is, do not be afraid of dash cams. Do not be afraid of dash cams. I pinky promise you, nobody in the insurance industry. I can't say anything about your managers and who's looking at that on the company side. But if you are an owner operator or you are somebody that's managing a small fleet, get some dash cameras. Like those things save you so much on claims. They save your rear end in claims all the time. But not only that, it's promoting safe driving. The Motive right now has an AI dash cam that will tell you specific safety events that you may have done that you can improve on. So that way you're not having to parse through all this data and all these videos. It's specifically sending you clips saying, hey, this is what you did. You need to do this to do a little better. And that's not a bad thing. Nobody's over here saying like, you're a bad driver. Right. But there's always room for improvement. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I say all the time, I learn something new every single day.
Right.
Being a truck driver on that road, you're going on roads you've never been on before sometimes. Yeah. There's always room for improvement, and there's always room to be a safer driver. And I get managers and trucking companies will put pressure on you to do some things sometimes, but at the end of the day, safe driving is what's going to reduce your insurance costs. And that's how you find affordable insurance. So just the safety, first and foremost, with DOT compliance. The second thing is, and it's not something people like to talk about, but your financial history does a massive part of your insurance. There is a study done, I think it was State Farm, and there's a direct correlation between your credit score and the frequency that you're going to pay, that you're going to have a claim. And there's been no better indicator of claim frequency than your financial history. So, and I don't know if it's a matter of people just are more likely to pay out for a claim themselves if they have the monetary ability to. I don't know if they're just more likely to ignore things. I don't know what it is, but there is a correlation there. So if you have a little bit of a sour financial history, just taking some time to maybe improve that before you get into trucking, if you're going to do your own thing, that's going to be key. But then also just talking to your agent. I mean, I would love to spend an hour on the phone with somebody talking about their company. learning about it because there's discounts. I mean, there's not as many discounts as you as a personal auto policy, but there's still discounts you can do. The more I know about your company, the more details you give me, the better I can find a policy that covers you and also gives you a better price. So just spending the time to talk to an agent, I can't tell you how many times people call us and go, you know, I'll tell you about my company after you give me a quote. No, it's the other way around. Give me the details, spend some time talking to me about it, and I can get you a pretty good price.
Well, that's awesome. Man, you're putting it out there. You're
Yeah,
you're hunting down the prices, helping them out, navigating
yeah.
them through all those rates, and helping them, save money in any way they can. I know it's expensive. I know it's necessary, but it's also nice to have someone there that's guiding them through that. Like someone going on a hiking trip. Hey,
Well, I
watch
think
that pitfall.
the word guide is exactly it. So that's how I see myself as a guide. So there's where I think companies, this isn't just insurance, this is companies, where companies get it wrong is they think they're the hero. They think my product is the hero. This is what's going to save the day. The hero is the truck driver, right? My job is to guide them, to get them what they need so that way they can succeed. So, the guide is exactly correct. So my job is to guide you. So you come to me and say, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. My job is to get you where you need to be to accomplish that. It's not me doing something for you. It's giving you the tools to do that. And if you have an agent that has that mentality, you've got somebody that's going to take care of you. And I think that that's the big thing with insurance is the company's not the hero, it's the trucker.
Wow. I like that. Yeah. Thank you. You think about going out there at night. There's
Yeah.
truck drivers, there's deer, there's elk. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it gets crazy. Uh,
Yeah, it really does.
trying to trying to navigate through all that is definitely scary. How can truckers spot low quality or cheap insurance that might have leave them vulnerable? I mean, they may not be with you, uh,
Yeah.
trucking insurance services. So what areas that they need to look out for some pitfalls? If you can guide them with that, because they could have their own insurance policy. Some specific red flags they should watch for.
Yes. So the first thing I will tell you is a red flag is if your agent does not tell you who the insurance company is with. That is a big thing that goes on in the industry. You'll call, you'll say, I want to get a quote. They'll send you numbers and you go, who is this company with? And they say, we won't tell you. What? What? I mean, that happens all the time. And I get it. It's not always nefarious. Sometimes they're going, I don't want you to go to another agent and get this quote with this company and I lose the business. But that is a red flag because you need to be able to look into what that insurance company is, what their financial rating is. So there's something called AM Best. AM Best rates insurance companies off their financial stability. You want an A rated company, period. You don't want B rated. You don't want non rated. And sometimes this is the thing that tickles me. Sometimes insurance companies that are newer, maybe they're not rated by AM Best. They'll go, we're better business, what is it all the time? Better Business Bureau A rated. I don't care about your Better Business Bureau rating. I want to know what's your financial stability. I saw that the other day on some company's website. I'm like, what? So you want to make sure that they're A rated. And if your agent refuses to tell you who that company is with, run for the hills. The second thing is you want to find out what, you want to talk. It all comes back to this. You want to talk to your agent. You want to ask them, what are the coverages here? What are the deductibles? What's my coverage for towing and storage? What's my coverage if, my refrigeration unit has a mechanical issue? What's my coverage if I'm an auto hauler? This is a big one for auto haulers. Sometimes you might have $250,000 in cargo for an auto, but maybe that insurance company only pays out $75,000 per any one auto. So you could be hauling a nice Lexus or Ferrari or something, right? And it gets totally destroyed. You may not have coverage for that, even though you think you do on paper. So it's just taking it. And the hard part is you have to know the questions to ask, right? Most truckers don't know the questions to ask. So that's why transparency and trust from your agent is paramount. If your agent gives you a host of options and they start telling you you're going to like this one, you're not going to like this one, but this one's going to be cheaper, but you won't like it, that's key. You want to hear those little details because we had this one guy. He had a terrible safety record. He had claims. I mean, I was very close to telling him he needs to get a desk job and not be on the road. And we got him some coverage for some cargo, but there were some specific exclusions in that because of his record. And that coverage was cheap, but it wasn't good. And there's like coverage for like striking of the load, which means he hit a bridge with the car and it wasn't covered because anything that strikes the load isn't covered. So there's specific things in each policy. So just talking to your agent saying, give it to me flat out. What do I need to know about this policy? And if they just go, you need to know what the price is, there's a problem. You need to have an agent that communicates everything to you. That's the big way to spot it. It's just having that open dialogue and that open conversation.
That definitely you gotta be on top of things. Like you said, knowing the right question to ask.
Well, and it's hard because I mean, I guess if I had to I'm trying to think, if I had to give a couple questions to ask, I would always ask, what is the towing and storage limit? Because a lot of companies don't have a towing and storage limit. So if you're dealing with the towing and storage limit, you might want to ask some other questions about it too. You might just want to find out what's the financial rating of this. What are the claims handling like? And the other thing you might want to do too is Google reviews of claims handling from these policies. And I will always say with a grain of salt that people do not leave reviews unless they have a bad experience, right? So you're not going to read people going, wow, I had this claim with Progressive and it was wonderful. I'm so happy. They don't do that. They only leave reviews if they're like, this was the worst and Susan was my adjuster and she didn't communicate, blah, blah, blah. But what you need to look for though is if there's some fundamental problems in those reviews and it's consistent, red flag. So look at the financial rating of it, ask what the towing and storage limit is on your physical damage, and read reviews. Those are the three things you need to do. And if you see any red flags with that, probably not good coverage for you.
I get the impression that towing and storage should be just a part of the policy.
Well, so there's some standalone physical damage policies, and there's nothing wrong with standalone physical damage policies. But your agent can usually opt, not in every case, but usually you can opt to increase that towing and storage. On our end, we do sell policies that have limits on that, but we will always try to increase it to the maximum. Sometimes the maximum is $25,000, which is usually enough, but if your agent's selling you a policy with $5,000, that's not enough. You need to know that. You need to know what you're getting into. So if you've ever had to tow a truck, you know how much that costs. It's a lot. So just asking, what is this limit can really indicate whether or not you're getting the coverage that you need, or if they're trying to prioritize getting you a cheap policy to make a sale.
What's kind of something deeper, like their claim process, separating the quality of that, some take forever to pay or they pay right away. I mean, imagine that could be a big part of the picture as well.
Yeah. So there are some companies I hold as the gold standard of claims handling. Northland. If you have a Northland insurance policy, you are in some of the best hands possible. They are, we had this guy, his truck got stolen. The police were going out there trying to find it. Northland dispatched a team of people to go out there from their insurance company to go find this truck, and they found it, and the police department didn't. So there's some insurance companies. Yeah. Oh, I know. And it was within 48 hours. They found this stolen truck. I mean, there are some insurance companies that will go over and beyond in their claims handling.
Wow.
However, there's also companies out there that, maybe they contracted out to a third party, and that third party has, kind of a rough, it's very slow. So, there's just a massive difference in claims handling. And, here's the thing. Northland can be pretty inexpensive. They can be pretty affordable, but they're also the cream of the crop. if you have a Northland insurance policy, you are top of the game, right? Like they're looking for the best of the best. So they can give you a pretty inexpensive policy, but then also give you some really good coverage. But then there's some pretty inexpensive policies because the coverage just ain't that great. So looking up those claims handling, because if you're reading, they dispatched a team out there to find your truck versus I waited 6 months and only heard from my adjuster twice, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah. Oh.
But then also just asking your agent, your agent, what's the claim? What does a claim look like with this company? Will I be satisfied with the claim? Because if somebody's with me and they're with some of our preferred companies, I will say you will love this claims experience. They will take care of you and hold your hand. And there are other companies I won't be straight up with them and say, you're going to call me mad a lot during this. And it happens. So just asking the questions.
Awesome. Hey, and we're hopefully knocking some of them down today.
Yeah.
Putting them out there. Man, that's real helpful. What is something they can do to probably make it more affordable that could actionable steps? You mentioned the cameras that they could take. Maybe that will help the insurance be a lot more affordable without cutting corners on coverage.
Okay, so I'm going to take this in two parts. I'm going to take the owner operators because and then I'm going to take the company driver route because the company drivers more talking to the managers, the people that are making the decisions of, in some office, right? So for owner operators, you need just to use your ELD. You need to use a dual facing dash cam, and I know people hate dual facing dash cams. Those I cannot emphasize enough how many times there has been a claim where a dash camera saved the day. I have one right now. There's ongoing litigation. Somebody rear-ended our trucker. I'm always going to take the side of my trucker, always. And somebody rear-ended them. They claimed that our trucker backed up into them. What are the chances that's going to happen, right? If they had a dash cam, now there's ongoing litigation about it because the insurance company declined the claim, blah, blah, blah. Now there's litigation and they're tied up with this and we're shopping them for their insurance renewal and there's an open claim on their record because there's ongoing litigation and they did nothing wrong. Somebody hit them. If there was a dash cam in place, this wouldn't be a question. That wouldn't be an issue at all because they could submit the dash cam footage, shows they did not back up, case closed, no litigation, nothing. And that's just one of a million. And that was, this is a Saturday that we're having this recording. That was yesterday that I was dealing with that, just yesterday. Wow. And that's just one of a million examples I have of where a dash cam saves the day. Even if you don't want dual facing, just do front facing. I'm fine with that. Just a dash cam. Second thing.
They can see if it goes backwards. Yeah,
exactly. But I mean, that's just one of a million claims because so long as there's billboards out there of a personal injury attorneys standing there, arms crossed, going, "Did a truck driver look at you wrong? Call us today, and we'll sue him for $1 million." And I mean, so long as there's those type of attorneys out there, you need to take actionable steps to protect yourself. The other thing, like I said earlier, get a good mechanic. A good mechanic is so invaluable. That's going to make sure your truck is running smooth. It's going to make sure your truck is in tip-top shape. You won't get issues with the DOT. Of course, sometimes, you have a DOT officer that woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Their wife yelled at them. I don't know. And they're going to take it out on you. And that happens. But, just making sure that mechanic is solid, saving you a ton of money. The third thing I would tell you, post-trip inspections. Post-trip inspections. Have a, you can go to JJ Keller and get, I think they have checklists that you can buy. Do one of those every single time before you get in the truck, when you get out of the truck. If you do that and you keep a good log of that, in the event of a claim, in the event of anything, you have your documentation that everything is in good shape. You're more likely to get clean inspections. One little bonus tip. I don't even know if this is true or not. I had this guy, I looked at his DOT safety scores, 16 inspections, no violations, no out of services, nothing. I've never seen anything like it. I told him we're going to take a screenshot of that and send it to like the Museum of Modern Art or something. Like I've never seen anything like that. He said that he signs each DOT inspection and mails it back. He says that, and I don't know if this is true or not. His whole thing is that they don't log clean inspections all the time, but if you sign that inspection and mail it back, they'll log it for you. I don't know if it's true or not, just something
Yeah,
from
another trick.
some
Yeah.
trucker in Virginia who said that. Take it with a grain of salt. Now, as for the fleet managers, you need to promote a culture of safety in your company. And you're not going to do that by looking at your trucker and saying, we're going to put dual facing cameras in here. Suck it up, buttercup. Like they're not going to do it that way. You need to encourage them. This is my thing. I tell people all the time. Gift cards. People love money. They love to be
Yeah.
rewarded for good things.
Heck yeah.
Put some dash cam, put a dash cam in there. Say, this is what we're doing. However, every time you do X, Y, or Z thing right, you get a gift card, a Visa gift card, spend on whatever you want.
Yeah.
Create incentives that make them want to get on board, because you have to get your company drivers on board. Help them understand it's not a bad thing. This isn't an attack on them. This isn't, and I get it. When you live in that truck, I mean, when that's your home, you don't want a camera in your home. I don't want a camera in my home. I had one of those little dog things that takes a little video of my dog, and I don't even like having it in my home. I get it, but helping them understand that, this is for your safety and this is for protecting you. That's key. The other thing is give them incentives when they get good inspections. I can't tell you how many times, even the smaller fleet space, you bring on one driver that can wreck your DOT safety scores. You have to incentivize them to do that. And you do that by rewards and encouraging them. That's the biggest thing you can do to promote that culture of safety, and get some DOT compliance consultants to come in and teach you the ropes, show you what you need to do to do that. Just investing that time and money into safety is going to pay dividends on your insurance costs.
Investing in people, creating a community.
That's exactly right.
Keyword culture. I mean,
yep.
There could be a bad culture, and then it's hard to turn it around.
And there are some bad cultures out there.
Yeah. So,
like I said, if your manager's telling you to turn off your ELD or to do personal conveyance or something, like there's some problems there.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So, man, that's unfortunate that that's still out there, but it is. And we got to find a way to turn it around or steer the ship in the right direction. So how important is it for truckers to regularly view updates on the policy? You got to think about it. They're driving, they're busy. How important is it for them to try to take a little moment to maybe on the break to update or look at their policies, give you a call? Like I said, talk to you. Do you find that people often do that, or they kind of stick with the same plan? I guess it's a twofold question there.
They do not call us as nearly as much as they should. We have, whenever we have a policy that comes up for renewal, we have, normally, I mean, I'll be honest, we're a fairly small agency in size of people, but we're a large agency in the amount of truckers that we write. So you deal with the same people over and over and over. We have this one particular person who her job is to call every single renewal and say, let's discuss every coverage you have. Let's make some updates. So the big place that gets people is, for owner operators or small fleets. Let's say you start working for Amazon, right? Or not working for, but getting loads on Amazon Relay. Okay. Amazon may require coverage that nobody else requires. Big one, they requires general liability. Truckers, general liability, it's a good coverage to have, but it's not one that if you don't have it, there's going to be issues. So it's not one that I start policies with just, willy-nilly. If you have that coverage and you go, I ran a couple loads on Amazon Relay and wow, the rates are terrible, I don't do this anymore. You're still paying for the coverage. Because if you forget to call us and delete coverage for them, you're still paying for it. Like, you've lost money now because you're paying for this coverage you don't need. So it's call us once a month, look at your policy, just look at your certificate and go, great, this looks good to me. Or just call us and say, this is what I'm doing. This is who I'm running for. I don't run for these people anymore. What do you know? What do I need to do? If somebody tells me I ran for Amazon and I don't run for them anymore, I know right off the bat, do you still need general liability? Do you still need 50,000 trailer interchange coverage? Do you still need workers' comp? Do you still need employer's liability coverage? because they certain companies require certain things. Cardinal, we have these guys that carry $100,000 in trailer interchange. I'm always like, what are these trailers like plated in gold? Like, why are they? You know what I mean? And they go, I don't need, I'm not running for Cardinal anymore. You're probably paying $4,000 or $5,000 extra per truck to have this coverage that you're just paying for, and you're not even making money doing it anymore. So just with how dynamic and how frequently things change in this industry, especially amongst our owner operators and smaller fleets, calling your agent once a month. And if your agent doesn't want to talk to you once a month, you have a problem. Like call your agency and say, let's go over my coverage. Is everything still the way it needs to be? Good. Excellent. Talk to you next month. I mean, I love when our guys call us to talk about coverage.
Awesome.
Especially saving them money.
Right. Yeah, that's what it's about right there. Saving money, keeping profit. I mean,
Right.
is there anything like bundling or safe driving discounts or maybe deductibles
So
being adjustable?
the safe driver discount comes from your DOT scores. So, I mean, I cannot emphasize enough. DOT safety scores, check that regularly. There's something called an ISS score. And that's a score determined by the FMCSA. And it's how frequently you need to be inspected at a weigh station, or how frequently does a DOT officer need to do a level 1, 2, or 3 inspection of your truck. So, if you have an elevated ISS score, that means there's a problem. It means the DOT has said you need to be inspected more often because we're sensing there's issues with your vehicle maintenance or your hours of service or your unsafe driving, or maybe you have a drug and alcohol violation. We're going to inspect you more often. Insurance companies are going to look at that and say, if you have an elevated ISS score, we don't want to touch you. We don't want to insure you. So there's so much from the Department of Transportation that trickles down to insurance. So there's not so much a safe driver discount as if you're a safe driver, your safety scores are going to reflect that. And all the insurance companies are going to be clamoring to insure you because that means there's less risk to insure you. So, for safe driving, just DOT. The DOT determines your safe driving. But then on the flip side of it, you can have higher deductibles. The deductible is nothing more than what your skin is in the game. So if you have a high deductible, it means you're going to have to pay more in the event of a claim. So insurance, you can think of insurance as a transfer of risk, right? So you're saying, I'm going to pay you X thousands of dollars a year. And if something happens, you're going to pay out up to this much. So if I hit, Sarah Joe and she goes out of my neck, how much are you looking at paying out for her going out of my neck, versus how much am I going to pay you to take care of that for me? So if you have a higher deductible, you're going to have a lower premium because you have more skin in the game. So yeah, you can look at that. And there's certain amounts I would say, sure, you can increase deductible. But the reality is it's coming from discounts of safe driving. Some insurance companies are tapping into ELD devices now to collect driver data. There's actually a new company that just rolled out in the small fleet space called Nirvana. We love Nirvana. So they actually give you a discount up front for your safe driving. So they require 2 years in business. They're only in, I think, 10 states right now, maybe more. But their whole thing is, we submit the risk to them, and then they require you to log into your ELD provider. They look at the data from the ELD and they give you a quote and they give you discounts for it. So I had one of them, they give a 20% discount because of his safe driving from his ELD data. I had another one they declined because they said you drive too much in New Jersey. Go figure. I had one they increased the price on them because they said they speed too much. So in this day and age, your safe driving, it's all in the cloud, right? It's on your ELD. It's on the Department of Transportation. So whenever it comes to discounts, it's just how you drive. It's just how you drive.
Use that documentation that, we're being recorded a lot. So use it.
Oh my gosh, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Get something back from it. they're taking something from you. Why not, get something?
If you got to have that ELD, make some money from it, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Man, so claims, real life experiences. I'm sure you've seen some interesting situations in your time. You got any stories that you could share that maybe having the right coverage made a difference for that trucker, for that company? Maybe it was something that was a sad story. I mean, As if you want to share that, we will get all ears open.
I've got
Yeah.
one. I cried probably for the first 2 years whenever I would think about this. Not because it's bad. It's a good story. It's a happy
Okay,
cry.
okay.
So we had this trucker. He was in Pennsylvania. He delivered parts of mobile homes. And there's this Amish man. And, Amish, they don't use cell phones, they don't use, technology. He had ordered this mobile home. And, it was a large enough mobile home, it had to be split in half. So, a mobile home's made for each other. It's not something you can replace half of it or the other half. So one half got delivered. Our trucker was delivering the second half, and there was an accident, and that half of the mobile home destroyed. So insurance is obligated to pay out for damages caused to the property being hauled. That's half a mobile home.
Right.
What do you do when you have half of a mobile home delivered and the part that goes with it is totally destroyed and you can't just make that half again? You have to buy the whole mobile home over again. But the insurance company, they're looking at it like, um, we just have to pay for half this mobile home. What do you do? It was Progressive. I will always say this is Progressive. And this is, if you read comments online about Progressive, people will say Progressive has a bad rep. I love Progressive for this. I mean, for a number of reasons, but this is just one I love about it. Their claims director specifically went ahead and paid for the entire mobile home, even though only half of it was destroyed for this man, because you could not buy just half of the mobile home. So they were only on the hook for half the mobile home, but you can't buy just half a mobile home. They went and paid for the entire mobile home for this guy. And they basically paid for this man to have a home. And that's what happens whenever you have good people making decisions in the trucking space, because trucking is so much more than just the driver. It's who are you hauling this property for and what are they going to use it for? And sure, you're sometimes hauling things for these Fortune 500 companies, and there's some damage. What's it to them, right? But then maybe you're hauling half of a mobile home for this Amish man that is just going, you know what? I'm putting it in God's hands, and I'm going to be taken care of at the end of the day because he believed in God. And not to get religious, that's just that's what he kept saying is,
Yeah.
I'm just going to let God take care of me. Well, the insurance adjusters are looking at each other going, what do you mean God's going to take care of him? We only have to pay for half this mobile home. So, they just went ahead and they paid for the entire mobile home. And I cried for a couple of years, recounting that story, just because of, whenever good people make decisions and when good people are in positions to make decisions and we empower good people to do that, good things happen. And insurance isn't all just, bad, and claims sometimes can have happy endings. And so that's just one that really gets to me whenever I think about it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, it
It
sounds
was just
like
really touching. And
insurance
like just
companies
talking to the guy
can be the
too.
bad guy, but they can also be
They could also be the
the
good guy.
hero.
And that's the thing. Yeah, exactly.
Hey man, and you are too. You think about it. Like you say, you could just call an insurance company directly, but having someone there to help guide them through it, I mean, that's huge. I mean, I've heard of people go fishing and they do it themselves and they don't catch anything, or they just, I don't know, it's not the best, but if they have a guide to
Right.
help them find where to go fishing, and you always hear about great stories. You always hear about
Right.
it. And so that community that we can make in the transportation industry, or even just in your neighborhood, the
Hmm.
community that you can build, the connections you can make with each other, it's going to be invaluable. It's not just something that you want to just take for granted and kind of isolate yourself. The more people that are in your corner, the better it's going to be. People are the solution.
Right.
Good people that want to do good things. So finding those people, holding on to them, I guess the thing about the community is, it takes all of us to understand that we need each other. Unfortunately, sometimes bad things happen where we kind of start thinking outside the box, but our insurance agent can be a friend, doesn't
Yeah.
have to be a foe. And
Yeah.
and our truckers out there, then we can be friends on the road. So, when you're riding shoulder to shoulder with a truck driver, that's your opportunity,
Yeah.
So we can do this in so many ways each day. And I think that's huge to hear your side of the story and let listeners know, hey, there's people out there that actually care.
Well, it's going back to the trucker is the hero, and it's what community can be formed to protect the trucker, support the trucker, and what can we do to help them make their lives easier and protect them and get them the information they need. That's the key.
Nice. And so, you know, the future of trucking or the future of trucking insurance, looking ahead, how do you see the trucking insurance landscape evolving in the next few years or in the next few months? I know political year is tough for truck transportation. Maybe, 2025 would be an uptick. That'd be great. Like you said, a lot of people are hurting. Are there any trends or changes that you think truckers should be aware of?
So the probably the biggest trend is dash cameras right now and the evolution of technology in the cab of the truck. I think I remember whenever ELDs became mandated, there was a lot of pushback against ELDs, and now it's such a normal part of trucking. It's just what people do. You have your ELD, but I think dash cams is the next thing that's going to really change. I think that's going to become a lot more widely, in cabs of trucks. Something for the economy, though, we have, we have access to insurance companies that give us their economic forecasts. And I remember in 2023, they said, oh, fourth quarter 2023, things are going to improve, rates will increase, everything's going to be fine. I mean, it's October, it's 2024. We're not out of this. So now I think the big thing to say is after the election, freight rates are going to improve. You're going to see some equilibrium in the economy between supply and demand of truckers versus, what we need hauled. I think back in the summer, the big wigs, I call them the big wigs because they have all the information. They said it's going to be fall or winter 2024. I think now they're saying spring of 2025. So I don't know if really the election is going to change all that much. I do think looking at the freight rates, looking at the trends, I think we are set to hit equilibrium at some point, probably April, May 2025. And when I say equilibrium, I mean between the amount of trucking companies and the trucks that are on the road and the demand for those trucks. Because so many people have been exiting the market. And even, where we are trucking insurance services, right? The name implies we do trucking. So what happens to the truckers out there happens to us. When trucking companies go out of business, we lose clients.
Right.
So, we've started to see a slowdown. And of course, all this is anecdotal on our end, but we've seen a slowdown of cancellations. We've seen a slowdown in trucking companies going out of business. So once you hit equilibrium, supposedly it takes about 6 months of hanging out in that space before it's going to become a trucker's market. So I'm going to say my best guess, April, May 2025, things are going to start improving. And don't write that on stone. Like don't come for me when I'm wrong. But
No.
that's what I think.
I like it, man. It's like wondering which team's going to win. It's not like
Yeah.
that. You're hoping that your team wins, and
Right.
that's thinking positive. That's putting good energy out there. I like it. Um, Another hot topic, that's still kind of uh, cruising along is self-driving vehicles. You think about those dock
Yeah.
workers over there, where they say they can automate the entire dock, or they got AI models out there showing how it can be done.
Oh
And they're
yeah.
trying to protect that. They're trying to protect their jobs. Automation is a real thing. And you think about the insurance side of it. How does that work?
Right.
How is there any insight as to, is that something that's tangible, or is it something that can actually be done?
So I think there will always be demand for over-the-road truckers. Always. Maybe this is going to be that moment that, people look back on and, 1910, and they were like, we'll never get rid of horse and buggies. There's always going to be a need for horses. I truly think there will always be a need for over-the-road truckers. I know that they do have specific self-driving lanes between Houston and Dallas right now. I know that's something that they're actively doing with 18-wheelers. I am hesitant to believe that truckers will ever not be needed. You'll always need that human touch in there. There's only so much that you can automate when it comes to the movement of goods across the country, sharing roads with people. And I'm not entirely sure that regulatorily, I'm not even sure that's a word, that there's going to be regulations there to allow that in the next 20 years. So as much as we want to be gung-ho about, artificial intelligence and self-driving cars, I don't feel that's going to be a big thing for the next 20 years. Now, as
side.
for
How could they,
the insurance side,
man, think about the claims.
well, I'm going to be honest. We've had conversations about this. What are we going to do with autonomous vehicles? How do you insure an autonomous vehicle? Because a key component of insurance is you're insuring the driver. The driver is a known variable. You give me a driver with 6 at-fault accidents and a DUI, I'm going to say this driver is going to have an accident in the next year. But you give me a robot, what am I supposed to do with that?
Right?
I mean, what am I supposed to do with that? So, you'll have to insure it some way, shape, and form. It's not trickled down to where we are directly dealing with that yet. So there's a lot of question marks. I think in the insurance industry as a whole, there's still question marks about it, and they'll flesh it out, I'm sure, in the next 10, 15 years. But it is, I couldn't answer that. I don't know how to insure a robot.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like, I think about the damage that could potentially happen. It may have to be a rider like earthquake insurance or hurricane insurance. It's just, the premium on it probably is pretty high.
Astronomical.
That's something that they can roll into not having manpower.
Well, and right now, even, I do know there isn't an insurance policy for this. Insurance will insure anything. Look at the '08, the Great Recession. There was insurance policies on these poor trades. I mean, you can insure anything. So I'm sure at some point they'll figure out how to properly insure that. But right now, from what I understand, the companies that are running these are mostly self-insured. So for an insurance company, they're not having to deal with this yet. But man, 10 years from now, I don't know what's going to look like. And I have a feeling I'm not going to like it.
I just imagine being at a stop sign, a 4-way stop, and
just looking over.
Who goes first? Yeah. Good stuff, man. Well, so any advice, we wrap it up. Any advice, what's best for truckers to, or any new experience, or when it comes to managing their insurance needs, what's one thing you would probably highlight for them?
One thing to highlight for them for managing their insurance. There's so many things I'd love to highlight. I think I've highlighted most of them. I think I keep saying this, and I probably sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but call your agent, have that relationship with them, talk to them. They will tell you what you need to know. If they understand the industry, if you talk to an agent and they say, and you say, well, it's on my bill of lading, and they say, what's a bill of lading? You probably don't have someone that's going to help you see around the corner, but you just talking to your agent, they're going to help you. They're going to tell you because they want you to succeed. They don't want you to fail. So just have that open dialogue and that conversation with them, and it'll take you far.
Well, I like that. You want them to succeed. So
yeah,
how could someone get in touch with you? Like, you got a website that you, maybe they like what you're talking. Maybe they like what you hear. So how would someone get in touch with you?
So the first thing is www.truckinginsuranceservices.com. So where you can find us. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We don't have Instagram. I don't think we're cool enough for that, but hit us. We're definitely not on TikTok. Definitely not on TikTok. We're not cool like that.
Yeah.
And then you can just give us a call. Our number is 855-281-2924. If you want to talk to me, I am the only guy that works at this office. It is me and several dozens of women. So if you are like, I want to talk to Will, and you're like, I don't remember his name, just say the guy. And they're going to get you to me because they're going to know who you're talking about.
That's funny.
But yeah, just say the guy. They'll, I think there's a new guy that's going to start on Monday, so I will no longer be the only guy. But you can say the guy on the podcast, and they'll know who you're talking about. But yeah, just give us a call. I love to chit chat. I can talk to a brick wall. So if you just want to have a good conversation about insurance, if you have an existing insurance policy and you're like, I need some advice on this, I'm going to be fairly limited because I'm not your agent, but I'm happy to help you understand the industry as abroad and maybe just give you some tips that don't step over the lines.
You're absolutely cool, though. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
For what we need, insurance. You think you want to go to sleep, but hey, you got Will here.
Yeah. Saturday, Sunday, you called me about your girlfriend. I'm here.
That's sweet, man. I like it. Oh man. So Will, it's been a great conversation, man. Thank you so much for breaking it down and trying to simplify some of those things. And even if we didn't go into detail about some things that, hey, they know who to call and they know, hey, call your insurance agent, start that conversation, start that connection, start that relationship, and get the guidance you need. So thank you so much for breaking that down. The world of trucking insurance, helping our listeners understand how to find quality, affordable coverage. And for anyone who's looking to connect with trucking insurance services, the best way is to reach out to them is on their website. So, Will, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking this time out of your day.
Thank you for having me. It's so great to be here.
Awesome. All right. Again, thanks again. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to That's Delivered. Make sure to subscribe, leave a review, stay tuned, and look out for more insights, episodes coming up next, and keep on rolling.
Are you a trucker looking for a safe and reliable place to park? Look no further than Truck Parking Club. With locations across the country, we've got the perfect spot waiting for you, whether it's daily or long-term parking. And right now, use promo code DELIVERED at checkout for an exclusive discount. Reserve your spot today at truckparkingclub.com and drive stress-free, knowing your parking is covered.